Welcome to the Kent Lapp Podcast.
If you look at the claims made by the Catholic Church, they're radical and they're extreme. And there's a reason why they get martyred all the time because they make really wild claims. And in any case, so I was like, well, okay, well, the first step was I intellectually kind of assented to the solidness of this religion, right? And then I got attacked by a demon. Yeah. And so, and outside of like addiction and like some depression in my life, I have no like psych issues. Never been admitted to a psych hospital, never been arrested, none of that. And it's like one night I'm writing a paper for an Aquinas class, and I'm up in my third story apartment by myself. And I was dating my wife at the time, and she lived with her mom. And I was sitting there writing the paper, and all of a sudden, like literally, I stand up against my will, and this force, I think it was a demon. Literally, it was like, well, I can't say what. It was saying some vulgar things to me, and it was like
audibly.
Yeah, in my I could hear it. Wow. It wasn't like it was in the room; it was like in my brain. And so I was like, and it's like you're gonna go into the bathroom and just slit your wrists, like you're you're terrible, blah blah blah, cursing. And I was like, whoa. And I was walking, and I remember, and I like, kind of like, it was like out of a movie. I literally like kind of turned my body and started walking instead towards towards my den, which were my balconies outside of that. And it was like, great, you're going to jump off the balcony like head first, you piece of ass, you're going to, and I was like, whoa. And I started crying. And this is within a matter of like 10 seconds. And I just started crying, and I was like, and I said, God help me. And the minute I said that, boom, it went away, and I like collapsed on the ground. And I was just like, whoa. And so I called my girlfriend, who's my now wife, who was a Christian. She was raised Pentecostal. And that's another thing on a side. If you ever are dealing with demons, there's only two groups that you're going to generally go to. It's Pentecostals and priests. So, because they're really the only people who, that's very broad, but they're the strongest forces. Those are the strongest denominations that believe in demons, like that they exist and that they can have practical effects.
Yeah, that's well said.
And so, I always say that. But so I call my now wife, and I was like, "Hey, this just happened to me, and I need you to come over here," because I wasn't like, because it was so it was so shocking. It wasn't like, oh, I need to go to Vandy Psych. I'm like, I'm having issues. I'm now schizophrenic. It wasn't like a psychotic break. It was like I'm writing a paper, listening to jazz or whatever. I don't know. Listening to whatever is on my Pandora, because you listened to Pandora back then.
I remember Pandora.
Yeah. And it popped up and literally, and that happened. I was like, so she came over and like anointed my head with oil and prayed over me. And I was just like, I need to seek refuge, because that was like a clear and present. I always call it my Saul of Tarsus moment. It was like a Saul of Tarsus moment where I got knocked off my horse, and I was like, I didn't go blind, but I was literally attacked. And I was like, I got to figure this out. And so I did some like deeper, I just refocused and came into the Catholic Church like 2 years after that.
Oh yeah? Yeah.
So, but I was on my merry way, And there's been some other, demonic oppression that's happened throughout my life, but that was the most intense, like overtly oppressive, like borderline possession type thing. And I don't, I'm telling you this on this podcast, but whenever I'm in private conversation telling people that story, I usually am like, unless I'm like really, trying to witness to somebody. Like if I'm at a party and someone's like, "Why are you Catholic?" I'm not. Now I might say it, but like early on, I wouldn't be like, it's true, and I got attacked by a demon." Right. I'll do that now, but like I usually would reserve that to talking with Christians.
I see.
Because even then, you got to be careful which kind of Christians you're talking to, because they might be like, "Oh, okay." Oh, yeah, sure. You got attacked by a demon.
And instantly start looking for other people to talk to in the room.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the long That's the long version of how I came into the Catholic Church.